Our Buffalo Bandits do it again! What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video of Sports Talk Buffalo. The Buffalo Bandits, our Buffalo Bandits, go back to back to back and win their third straight championship, marking them as one of the only two teams in NLL history that have won 3 consecutive championships, the other team being the Rochester Nighthawks in 2012, 2013, and 2014. The Buffalo Bandits now have, with this victory, 7 total league championships: 1992, 93, 96, 2008, and 2023-24, and this year, 2025. They are now in sole possession of first place in the entire NLL for championships won by a team in league history. So the Buffalo Bandits not make history 2 separate times in this game alone. So just how did we get here this season? Well, first, the Bandits started the season winning, I believe, 7 straight games in front of packed houses. Nobody could seem to beat the Buffalo Bandits, and the Bandits ended up finishing the season 13-5. They stumbled a little bit down the stretch. However, they still secured the number 1 overall seed in the entire NLL, which means they had playoff home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. Now we go into round 1. This is single elimination, mind you, against a San Diego Seals team that had already beat the Buffalo Bandits at home earlier in the year, so they knew it could be done. They had all the confidence in the world, and Buffalo was able to secure a it doesn't get any tighter than this, a tightly contested, one of the lowest scoring box lacrosse games that I have ever seen, as they beat the Seals 5-4 in the first round of the NLL playoffs in front of Banditland, who, by the way, set the record, breaking their own record for attendance in a season. They averaged over 18,000 fans every single game, all season long. Now, with that, Matt Vince was spectacular, and the defense was spectacular, and that was what ended up giving the Bandits the 5-4 victory in the first round against the San Diego Seals. Now you move into the second round against Vancouver, and they dominated Vancouver at home in Buffalo 9-3. Yes, I said that. Matt Vince allowed just 3 goals in Game 1 against Vancouver in the second round of the playoffs this season. He was sparkling for this entire playoffs once again for the Buffalo Bandits. They then were able to squeeze by Vancouver in Vancouver by the slightest of margin, 11-9, to get into the championship game, which would mark their 5th straight championship appearance for this Buffalo Bandits team. Then it was on to the championship against the number 2 team in the NLL, the Saskatchewan Rush, who also finished with a 13-5 record. And the only thing I believe that gave Buffalo the edge was goal differential, as the Bandits had a massive goal differential heading into the playoffs. I believe it was like 46 and Saskatchewan had like 26 or something like that. 43. Bandits had 43, Saskatchewan had 26. Something insane like that. But that gave the Bandits the push to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Now, in game one, it was a very tight, it was a back and forth game, and the Bandits were able to pull out a very closely contested game, 12-10, as Ian McKay, who has been tremendous all playoffs long, led the way in that game with 4 goals, and Matt Vince had 44 saves, out battling his opponent to shut down the Saskatchewan Rush in game number 1. Now, game 2, again, it was another nail-biter. What would you expect with two teams that were both 13-5 going into the playoffs? It was very back and forth. However, it was Saskatchewan at home in their building that was able to pull it out in the fourth quarter. They outscored the Bandits 3-1 in the fourth quarter as Austin Shanks led the game with 3 goals, and Scigliano made 40 saves in order to secure his team the victory. Bringing us to game 3. In Banditland, in front of a sold out, and by the way, this game sold out quick. There was nothing but resale tickets left when I went to go buy tickets on Wednesday. Tickets went on sale Monday afternoon, and by Wednesday, it had already sold out. So in front of 19,070 raucous fans in Banditland, the Saskatchewan Rush and the Buffalo Bandits would play Game 3, winner take all. Now, I said before the game started to the person that I went to game with that if the Bandits were going to win this game, it would have to be their big guns who would have to show up, and boy, did they. Dane Smith scored 3 goals, showing off his incredible range because he couldn't, the Rush played great defense on him, not letting him get in tight. So what did he do? He just buried it from the outside with his incredible shot, and then also added 5 assists as he ended up being the 3rd star of this game. You move on to Josh Byrne, who had struggled a little bit pretty much through, I would say not throughout the playoffs, but he had definitely struggled in this series against Saskatchewan. They had all but shut Josh Byrne down the best they possibly could. And in this game, in this series, when the lights shined the brightest, it was Josh Byrne who also shined the brightest. 4 goals in this game, timely goals, scoring again and again for the Buffalo Bandits. He scored to make it 1-1 after Saskatchewan took an early lead. He then scored to give the Bandits the lead, which they never gave back, to make it 4-3. And then they continued on their streak, and the Bandits scored to make it 6-3. And then again, after the half ended and it was on to the second half in the third quarter, Buffalo went on another run, and it was Josh Byrne who made it 9-6. Then comes your 43-year-old goalie, Matt Vince. The guy ages like a fine wine, or has so far for the Buffalo Bandits. He saves 42 shot attempts, he had 42 saves against 48 shot attempts. That is a .875 save percentage in the last game of the year with a 43-year-old goalie. And if you are new to box lacrosse, an 87.5% save percentage is ridiculous. That is so incredibly good to not only have that, but to have that against the second best team in the National Lacrosse League, and then to have it in the finals in Game 3, a must-win game, and Matt Vince comes through again as he shut out the Saskatchewan Rush. He did not allow a single goal in the second half, and Buffalo went on an 8-0 run to turn what was a close game into a dominating victory, giving the Bandits their third straight championship. Let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a video. I talk Bill Sabres and the University at Buffalo men's basketball and football teams right here. Also, throw in a little bit of Buffalo Bandits talk as well. I want to thank you guys all for watching, and as always, have a fantastic week.
Hey,